Glad. I love that we had that discussion. And then yeah, that'll happen sometimes. So I'm glad you caught that. Thank you. So back again. So animal, and you have that bench shape. You're gonna put it above your armpit. So it's not going in, it's above. And you're gonna bounce it, kind of like a bird. Okay? Animal. Mm-hmm. Then we have pet. So the sign for pet is going to be your non-dominant is a fist, and your dominant is going to pet the back of the hand. This is used for both the I'm petting the dog versus I have three pets. It is the same sign. Okay. Then our next sign we have is dog. So for dog, there are two ways you can do it. They're similar. One is more the formal way, and one is the more faster, shorter way, is the best way to say it. So the first one is you pat your leg and snap. Dog, dog, dog. Dog. The other one is you almost like you're having your middle finger and you're bouncing your middle finger on your thumb. Dog. So it's like you have think the shape of like the K, and then you bounce your finger on your thumb. Dog. Dog. It's that fast motion of snapping, basically, if you think about it. Because you're snapping, most people snap like this. It's that bouncing. Dog. Okay. The next one we have is cat. Cat is going to be, you're going to have your pointer finger and your thumb. You're going to come to the corner of your mouth and pull out. Cat, cat, cat. Obviously, this one kind of makes sense. It's the whiskers. Cat. Cat. The next one we have is fish, which we did last week when we talked about food. It is the same sign. So fish or fish. Fish or fish. Okay. The next one we have is bird. And so for it does. Oh, I love that. Sorry, that just like blew my mind. I love when things like that. It does look like Kate, like it's, oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, I'm sorry. That just had me a moment. I love when I see things that kind of blend like that because for
Wait,
dogs,
that is wild.
right? Well, and the reason the patting the leg and the snap is the concept of when you're getting a dog's attention, you pat, come here, boy, come here. That patting on your leg, and sometimes the snapping is supposed to be that concept of like you're calling the dog. So that's where that comes in. It's a very interesting concept. Um, I got so distracted. I love that. Anyways, the next one I was going to say is bird. So bird is the same as chicken. Okay. So it's that 20 on your nose. So bird. When you are talking about a lot of times with bird and chicken, because I mean, they are a chicken is a bird. So bird is a very wide generic. Um, A lot of times when you're talking about, if you're talking about food wise, I love how I went meat. Food, if you do this, the first assumption will be chicken, not if you're talking about a pheasant or quail, things like that. If you're going to talk about those kinds of food, I love how we're talking about food, even though this isn't food. You would finger spell those specific kinds of birds, just to clarify that. Same concept with fish. Same concept. So I have seen some people when they're talking about chicken, like and talking about an actual like pet or an animal chicken, they sometimes will do chicken, like it's pecking the food. Chicken. I have seen that where it's like this is the beak and it's like pecking to get the food, chicken. I have seen that. Not as often. I mostly just see chicken. But again, I think this one comes from the concept of a pet chicken that lives on a farm, things like that. So I have seen that as well. Let's see. We'll do one more and then we'll go back. The next one we have is duck. So duck is similar to bird. It's two fingers though. So you're going to have, it's almost like you're saying no, that no again, but on your nose. Duck. 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 Okay. So let's go back. We had animal, animal, animal. We had pet, pet, dog, dog, or dog. Cat, cat. Mm-hmm. Fish, fish, or fish. Mm-hmm. Bird, bird. And then duck, duck. Okay, excuse me. So our next one we have is snake. And so for snake, you're going to have a V, bend your fingers, and you're going to bring it to your mouth, and then you're going to go snake. And it's like you're making a zigzag. And it's like the tongue and the slithering. Snake, snake, snake. Okay? Snake. Good. All right. The next one we have is the sign for bug. And so this is the generic any sign for bug. Okay? So you have a number 3. You're going to put your thumb on your nose and you're going to bounce the 2. Bug, bug. And you do want to make sure you stay on your nose when you do this, because if you do it down here, that looks more like inhaler. So you want to keep it on your nose. Yeah, bug, bug. So there are some signs that people will have specific for specific types of bugs. Like ants. Typically, I fingerspell ants. Um, some people have certain ones for mosquitoes, bees. I've seen one for cockroach, a few. I typically leave the generic. If I need to be specific, I will fingerspell it. But I have seen a few specific bug signs. So one that I do see often that I have started to use is the bee one. And so for bee, it's like a little, it's the number 9. So you poke your cheek and you smack it. Bee, bee. And it's the motion of the bee stinging you and you going, ow, like you're smacking it away. Bee, 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 bee. Okay. The other one is spider. This one does have its own. So for spider, you're going to have 2 5s. You're going to put them on top of each other where the fingers are sticking out other ways, and you're going to wiggle them. Spider. 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 I love to add for the flair, my hands moving around. Or spider, like it's crawling towards you. So spider. Okay. The next one we have is rat/mouse. So the sign for mouse is going to be a pointer finger and you brush it across your nose. Mouse, mouse. Okay, mouse. This is also the same for rat. I have seen recently nowadays, usually it's just this generic, but I have seen people starting to add an R to emphasize rat. Rat, I have seen that lately. I still do this for rat and mouse. Um, if I needed to specify, I would just fingerspell rat, because that is a fast one you can spell pretty fast. Now, with this, you would not, if you're talking about Mickey Mouse, you would not fingerspell Mickey and then go mouse, okay? So the Mickey Mouse does have its own name sign, all right? And it's Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse. And I feel like I love that this is something that I'm like, no, I have to emphasize this. I have to address this. I'm not letting you walk around fingerspelling Mickey Mouse. You could do that, but he has his own Mickey Mouse. Mickey. This is also Disney. It's all that same connection. Okay. The next animal we have is a turtle. And so for turtle, you're going to have your dominant thumbs up. Your non-dominant is going to go behind it and cup it. Okay. Yeah. Yes. So it should look like this. So like where your pinky of your non-dominant should be close to your thumb. All right. And then you wiggle the head. Turtle. And if you notice, it looks like, okay, I know it's like, it's a very like abstract look, but this is the shell and this is its head poking out. Okay. Turtle. I was obsessed with this one when I was a kid, when I was in high school. I thought it was the cutest thing in the world. And I would just randomly look at people and go, turtle, turtle. Don't know why. Thought it was so fun. Okay. We'll do one more and then we'll go back through these. The next one I have is sea turtle. So there is a slight difference for a sea turtle one. And so for that, you're going to have 2 like 5s, but your fingers together. You're going to lay them on top of each other. Okay. And then you wiggle your thumbs. Sea turtle, sea turtle, sea turtle. Sea turtle. Okay, let's go back. So we had our snake, snake, snake. We had our bug, bug. We had our bee, bee, bee. We had our spider, spider. We had our mouse slash rat, mouse. We also had our Mickey Mouse, Mickey Mouse. We had turtle, turtle. And then, yeah, there you go. I was like, I went, and I went, wait. Handshake. Let me check that again. Yes, turtle. And then sea turtle. Sea turtle. Okay. The next one we have is tiger. So for tiger, you're going to have these open fives slightly bent. Okay. You're going to bring them here towards your face and you're going to go tiger, tiger, tiger. And it's like you're making the stripes. Tiger, tiger.
I
This
love
one's
this one.
right. Well, I was
It's
gonna
my
say
favorite.
it's a fun one to also like sign, especially when you're signing with kids, because you can go tiger, like popping out, like yeah, it's a fun one. Tiger. All right. The next one is a lion. Lion's gonna have that same similar five slightly bent. You're gonna have it come on the top, and you're going to shake as you go behind your head. Lion. And this is the concept of the mane, and that there's just all this hair. So lion, lion. Someone did ask me, what about a lioness? Because they don't have the mane. You would still say lion. You could say female lion, and that still is it still is the sign for lioness itself. I thought that was an interesting question because it does make sense logically. A lioness does not have the mane, all that. Um, but you would still do lion for sure. Okay. The next one we have is bear. So for bear, you're going to have, again, those two kind of fives. You're going to go across your shoulders and you're going to pull up. Bear, 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 bear. Okay. The next one we have is a cow. So cow is two Y's. Excuse me, I'm having the hiccups. You're going to put your thumbs on your forehead and you go cow, 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 cow. Now, with this one, you don't always have to do two hands. You can do one hand, cow. This is also accepted. It's the same thing like the good morning, same concept, that sort of thing. Um, Also, I'm going to add this here. I know it's not a big deal, but we are coming close to Halloween, might as well. If you were to dress up as a cowgirl or cowboy, you would do cowgirl or cowboy. Okay, so cowgirl or cowboy. And the reason I say that is because sometimes and I can catch myself doing this, where it's an easy spiral to really think the literal sense of everything. But sometimes signs, yes, you have to take the like literal actual sign for it. Other times you can kind of still do the cowgirl, that sort of thing. So I just was throwing that in there. I think it's because we were talking about Halloween in one of my classes, and one of my kiddos said they were going to dress up as a cowboy. So I think that's why my brain was like, oh, let me throw that in here. Okay, the next one we have is a horse. So horse is going to be two threes again, fingers together, and you're going to bring the thumbs and you're going to go horse, horse, horse. So this is the obviously showing like the ears, and you can do this one hand as well, horse. Okay, horse. The next one we have is monkey. So for monkey, very simple. It's what we've always done. Monkey. Yep, monkey. Monkey. I think that's one of the things I do like about animals is a lot of them do make sense. There's a good connection and reason where you're like, yeah, I can see why that would be that animal sign. So there's a lot of those that I like. Okay. The next one, let's see how many we done. 2, 4, 6. We'll do 2 more and then we'll stop and go back. The next one we have is gorilla. And so gorilla is going to be 2 A's and you're going to go gorilla. Gorilla. Mm-hmm. Gorilla. The next one we have is giraffe. And so for giraffe, you're going to have your dominant hand in a C, but not just like a small C, like a wide C. You're going to start at the base of your neck and you're going to go up. Giraffe. 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 Okay. Let's go back. So we had tiger, tiger, tiger. Lion, lion, lion. Bear, 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 bear. Cow, cow, or cow. Horse, horse, or oops, horse. I try to do the official fancy one first and then do this one, but this is what I do majority of my time anyways. That's why it's a habit. Monkey, monkey. Gorilla, gorilla. And then giraffe, giraffe, giraffe. Okay. So let's see, where's the left? There we go. All right, so our next one we have is elephant. Okay, so for elephant, you're gonna have that bent hand shape again. You're gonna have your knuckles at your nose, and you're gonna go elephant, 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 elephant. Okay, good. Then we have pig, which I think we did talk about last week. And so pig is going to be all five, you're all five. 5 with your fingers together. You're going to put the back of your hand under your chin and you're going to bend your fingers. Pig, 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 pig. Okay. Then we have zebra. So zebra is going to be, you have 2 fours spread out and you go zebra. You're gonna, oh, you couldn't see that, my bad. You have it like this, but down here, and you just basically go across because you're saying the stripes. Zebra, zebra. Okay. Then we have frog slash toad. I've seen this sign used for both. It's similar to our pig, but instead of having the 4 fingers, it's going to be 2 fingers. Okay. And you're going to be flicking them out this time. So you're going to put it under your chin and flick out frog, frog. And this one, the visual I have is when they ribbit and their whatever this word is. Why is that word left me? But under their chin expands. That's it, frog. Wow, I love that. I genuinely could not think of the word for that.
Is it a gullet? I don't know.
Might be. I was like, I don't know if I would know this. I'm not a science teacher. I'm a math teacher. I'm not supposed to know that. So, frog. Okay. Then we have alligator. So alligator is going to be what we always kind of think of as alligator. Alligator. Now you can go small. You can go small, but most of the time it's fun to go big and do alligator. I've also seen that with crocodile. I have seen when someone tries to clarify if it's an alligator versus a croc, I see that they will sometimes fingerspell croc, C-R-O-K. Ooh. C-R-O-C. Wow. What I voiced did not match letters. My bad. So, croc. Okay. The next one we have is, let's see how many we're down to. Okay. The next one we have is penguin. Penguin's kind of a hard one to see. I'll try to stand and show you. But basically, you have your arms sticking out on the side and you waddle. Penguin. Penguin. It's so cute. And let me tell you, when you have 5-year-olds signing penguin, it's the cutest thing in the world. You just are like, oh my gosh, that was adorable. So, the next one we have is butterfly. And so for butterfly, you're gonna have two fives closed again. You're gonna cross them and have your thumbs together. Butterfly, butterfly, butterfly. Sorry, there's a group text that's just boop, 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 sending a long message. I'm trying to swipe it away. Butterfly. Okay. The next one we'll do, well, actually, let's stop because the next is a good group together. Let's go back to those we had. So we had our elephant, elephant. Hmm. We had our pig, pig. Hmm. We had our zebra, zebra. Hmm. We had our frog, frog, frog. Hmm. We had our alligator, alligator. We had our penguin, penguin. We had our butterfly, butterfly, and that was it. I love how the tone. I'm one of those people, I try to finalize my tone to match where we're at, and that got me that I went butterfly, like there's the next one. That's just it's the little things like that, guys. All right, so butterfly. All right, our next one we have is owl. So for owl, you're gonna have two O's, and you're gonna go owl, 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 owl. Okay. Then we have wolf. So for wolf, I'm gonna turn myself a little bit sideways so you can see. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have this five in my face, and I'm gonna pull out from my nose. Wolf, wolf, wolf. And it is important you don't go down, because going straight down like this is sleep. So sleep, wolf. Okay, wolf, wolf. The next one we have is deer. And so for deer, you're going to have two fives and you're going to put your thumbs on your head. Deer. Okay? Deer. I'm going to add this. My list does not have this, so I'm going to add it right here because normally we do have it here. Moose. Moose is going to be the fives again and you go out. Moose.
Seriously, I just want to say this about moose or meese, whatever. We don't have moose down here. Where do Canada? Is that the only place you can find? So, like, I kind of feel like, why does moose get? I just really have a beef about mooses.
It gets talked about a lot. It gets talked
There
about.
are moose in Colorado.
Yellowstone has.
That's true. I didn't even think about that.
Hmm?
We
I've
don't
seen
have
them
any.
there. I've
We
seen
don't.
them there.
I have a
We don't.
chip on my shoulder about mooses, I guess. I just assumed they were like reindeer. No, it sounds like they're much more
It's okay because
accessible.
we don't see them here, so it's not a common one we
Is
do.
there a sign for reindeer?
Deer.
Okay.
I mean, Rudolph, usually you say red-nosed reindeer for like Rudolph or like Rudolph, like the
That's
nose.
so cute.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, reindeer. Usually we still do deer because when you're talking in the context of Christmas, and going through that, that's usually when you sign deer in Christmas. Most of the time, you're talking about a reindeer. So, okay. The next one we have is fox. So for fox, you're gonna have an F, and you're gonna put your nose right there and go fox, fox, fox. Fox. So you wiggle your hand just a little, fox. I don't know. I think that one's cute. Fox. Okay. Oh goodness. The next one we have is raccoon. And so for raccoon, you're gonna have two twos. You're gonna bring them to your eyes and go raccoon, 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 raccoon. And it's like making that motion of the dark patches they have, raccoon, raccoon. Okay, let's see. The next one we have is squirrel. This is what I've also seen in relation with chipmunks and what's the other one? Squirrels and chipmunks? No, maybe that is it. Sorry, I was trying to think. I think there's one other one, but it's not that one. Excuse me. And so for that, you're going to have two twos again, bend them, and you're going to put them on top of each other and bounce. And it's like you're cracking the nuts, like when they bite, that sort of thing. Chipmunk. hmm Chipmunk or squirrel. Okay. The next one I have is really not a sign itself. It is just kind of a clarification explanation. So when talking about baby animals, we all for in English have a different word for a baby animal, a kitten, puppy, uh, foal, things like that. Foal, fowl. Oh dear. Ooh, that's where my tone's coming in. I'm sorry. I don't voice often, so I was like, wait a minute, that threw me. My bad. Because I know fowl is talking about birds and foals are babies. Ooh.
Horses.
Anyway,
Yes, you were right. You're right. Yeah.
okay, good.
Do not doubt yourself. You're right.
I don't talk that often, guys. At school, it's like full silent. And sometimes when I do, it's like I don't know if I remember the pronunciations correctly anymore. It's pretty embarrassing. I can admit that. But in ASL, when you're talking about baby animals, you just kind of add the baby motion that we've talked about, the baby, to it. So a kitten, like a baby cat. I have seen with kitten, which is interesting. It's like a K kitten, like this. But that's not really like an official sign for kitten. It's just a shorter, quicker, simpler way. So it's not really like official, like everyone knows that when you do this, it means kitten. It can be just a speak and they shall appear.
Maybe she is my beast.
He's like, I heard you talking about cats. I heard you talking about baby one. What's up? So this one's just one I've seen. That's just more of a regional, could even just be my school. We've just signed kitten before, but so I've seen that a few times. But anyways, I was gonna say, so baby kitten, ooh, baby kitten, baby cat.
Jillian, if we're telling somebody we have a kitten, do we sign cat and then do the sign for baby or baby first? And
Yes, yes. I mean, you could do baby cat as well, or cat baby. Either way will kind of, you'll still be able to get it clear, but really the correct way would be cat baby, like cat baby. Because that's the point is that you have a cat and then you're specifying that it's a kitten, like it's a baby. Okay. All right. The next one I have is some water animals. So the first one we have is a whale. Okay. So for whale, you're going to have your non-dominant kind of arm out. Your dominant is going to be in a Y. You're going to have it at your like arm right here. Okay. Like inside. So it's like I'm touching my, oh, why can't I think of this one? Forearm. Jeez Louise, guys. You guys are not getting the grace of me with my English right now. So it's your Y is like attached to your forearm. Okay. So my thumb's like near my armpit, my pinky's near my um elbow joint. Okay. And then you're gonna go whale. So it's like the tail flapping. Whale. Whale. Okay. Whale. All right. The next one I'm gonna add, not we're gonna do is dolphin. Dolphin has a few different variations of its sign. Still the same overall concept, it's just added a few changes here and there. So the first one we're gonna do is we're going to have again that three with the two fingers together, and you're gonna have your non-dominant still kind of arm out like this, and you're gonna go dolphin, dolphin. So we are doing opposite. So instead of it being over here by our arm, it is by our fingers. Dolphin. Okay. The other variation I've seen, and this is the one I typically tend to do, is you have your same shape, the three, but they're now crossed. So I cross my fingers and go dolphin. Dolphin. The other one I've seen, this is more that English, is the D, dolphin. I have seen the D before, not as often. I see more of this one or this one, but I like this one.
Could the dolphin be jumping in the foreground or does it have to be behind?
Typically you have it behind, and
Okay.
because of the reason is it showing like this is like the waves, like we don't see below it easily.
Uh-huh.
So it's like we don't always see when it pops up.
Okay.
Because
Makes
you go in
sense.
front. I mean, I think you could go in front.
I,
Um, it would just, you would honestly risk hitting your arms together. Because this one is like they're not crossing, but this one they
yeah,
would cross.
right. Okay.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Hmm. Okay. The next one I want to add here, this one isn't on my list, but I'm going to add is shark. And so shark has two signs you can do. And this one you actually probably do see if you pay attention or if you watch anything about scuba divers. You will catch that they do actually use this sign for a shark in the water. Professional scuba divers do use this one, and so I like to add it because it is an actual, like, could be a really important sign, especially if you go to the ocean and you go scuba diving or you go anything like that. So, the first one for shark is you're gonna have a B and you're gonna go at the top of your head, shark. Okay. Now it is important. Some people do have it closer to your forehead. You do want to kind of be careful with that. And the reason for that is because this can be a not nice word. So I don't know if you remember when I said this bee down here when talking about breakfast could be a not nice
Oh,
word.
wait a
That's
minute. I just made the connection about where the hand is.
just about to say it. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So
Oh my gosh. I can't believe that. It didn't occur to me.
I love that. I've like hinted this every time because I don't ever like say, I don't want to say it. But so the B down here in your chin, this is a not nice word. This is the B word that we all know. This one's the male B word. Okay? If we can pick up when I'm dropping. I love that it took her that minute because this down
It
here
took
is
me like 5 years to pick up what Jillian was dropping, but
and then
whatever,
at the
it's
top,
fine.
right? So I wanted to emphasize that only because shark, I typically bring it up higher on my hairline, basically to be like shark. It is up here. Some people still do it down here, down lower. Um, but context again, if you're out in the water and someone's going like this, they're probably talking about a shark. But I like to just kind of say that because sometimes people can sneak on you and will sign things that are not exactly always right. And you want to be careful in catching that. So, but anyways, this is one version of shark. The other one is going to be again this bee, and your non-dominant is kind of in like that spot shape, and you're gonna put your bee in between, and it's shark because it's like the dorsal fin in the water. So you have like the bee, yeah, and then you swim it, like you're kind of moving it a bit, shark. Okay. So either one, just know that this one sometimes can be easily misinterpreted. Okay. The next one we have is where'd it go? Seahorse. So I throw this one in here because most of the time people will finger spell seahorse, but I have seen a few times and I just like to throw this one out here. And it could be not the most official sign for seahorse, but this is one I have seen. And so you have the almost like the calling motion, and then you bounce your thumb. Seahorse. Seahorse. I keep sticking my arm so out. Seahorse. Seahorse. I have seen this one. Okay. The next one I have is octopus. And so octopus, squid, and jellyfish are all very similar. I have seen some people have slight variations, changes here and there, but they do have a similar sign. Squid is a bit more different though. So for octopus, you're gonna have your non-dominant kind of fingers out. Your dominant comes on top of it like an O, and you go octopus. Octopus, octopus, octopus. So like the head and the legs, octopus. For squid, I've seen squid, like it's squid. I had to think for a minute. Squid. squid. And then, say that for jellyfish is jelly. Trying to remember. Like I said, there's slight variations, but they are very similar. Jellyfish is similar to octopus, but I think it's instead of moving up as much, it's more just staying here. Jellyfish. I'll have to double check on that one again.
Can you use the jelly, jellyfish, like the jelly that you apply on bread? And you have a
Yeah.
J, and then you
Um,
just wondering.
so for that one, no. And the
Okay.
reason is because no, it's a good question. That's why I was asking. That's why I was thinking for a minute because I was trying to think. Um, I mean, you could, and they're gonna know you're talking about a jellyfish, but you might get teased because that's like saying a catfish, catfish.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, trust me. Oh, I agree. Think about if you, I don't know if you guys ever saw, because I remember seeing these as a kid because I used to think they were funny. Whenever people would have those animals that have like two words put together, and they would take the literal, like a literal cat, and like an animal that's half cat, half fish. So I could see a fish that's covered in jelly. Like I could see that be like the teasing comment. Um, would that get the point across? Possibly. But I could see some teasing coming along.
Like in contextual, it could probably work. Like you say,
Hmm.
catfish.
It
I
could.
don't
It's
know.
just
I don't know.
this. It's just because since this is the
I
concept of an
think if
actual
people
cat.
knew you were learning, it'd be one thing. But it would be a different thing if it was just something you decided to do all the time.
Yeah, I think it just and it also varies on the person. Because some people will be more flexible and understanding. It's the same concept with talking to any group of hearing people or anybody that speaks Spanish, French, any of that. Whenever you're talking, some people may say it's fine for this, some may not. I know, for example, like a perfect example is the sign for light. Um, so the sign for light, like a light bulb being on, is light. It's like flicking the eight with the middle finger flicking your chin. Light, light. I was notorious for, especially in the beginning, saying light blue. Yeah, I've told this story. I knew I was like, she's gonna catch this. So light blue. I would say that because English wise, we do say light blue, turn on the lights. There's no change in the word light in that way. And some people they knew what I meant. They knew I was talking about being like it being a lighter color. Um, and some would accept and continue on with the conversation. It's fine, not a big deal. But some people will. I had one woman, very sweet. She was not rude about it at all. She was kind of teasing me a bit. When I said light blue, I like that color, blah, blah, blah. She looked at me and goes, "You have blue light bulbs? Like they're blue, they're this." And I was like, "What?" And she knew I was talking about a lighter color of blue. Like she knew I was not talking about the light bulbs itself. But she looked at me and she was like, "You have blue light bulbs? Like how can you see that? Like everything is just blue." And I was like, and it took me a minute because I had like just naturally said light blue and didn't even realize what I had said. And I went, bright blue. And she goes, "Thank you." And I was like, "I'm sorry." She's like, "It's fine, you're learning." But she wanted to show that that can be what kind of can cause confusion because you could be talking about a light bulb that is actually blue. That's not like a possible thing. And so some people may accept saying jellyfish, some people may say accept catfish, um, and some may not. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Others may be more accepting, some may not. Um, and again, most of the time they're understanding. You just may get a little bit teasement out of it, and it's never a bad thing. They're gonna tease you because it happens. I mean, it's like when I mispronounce a word and I'm like, I tease myself. I'm like, goodness, Jillian, you did not say that correctly. Sad. Okay. Let's see. I thought I had. You would finger spell catfish. Or you'd be like fish and then you would go catfish. I love that you're like, so what is the correct? Yeah, no, you would finger spell it. And I can admit, I did one time do catfish. I did do that. I was being so lazy. I did not want to finger spell. And my friend looked at me, knew what I was saying, and she gave me that look, and I said, I know I shouldn't do that. I did that one time for another thing. I can be pretty bad about that. And it's because the English sometimes comes in through too fast. And I can't catch myself to be like, that's not, you don't sign it like that. You don't take it like that. Um, like catfish. And then another one, I'm trying to remember what that was. Oh, washing your car. That can get you because, or washing, car, like anything that's washing, because washer machine is like washing, like it's very complicated, but it's like you're making the machine of it's washing, like your clothes are shaking and washing. Um, but when you're washing your car, it's washing, like you're cleaning your car, we'll call it washing, like an A, and it's like swiping and cleaning. Um, but we still say, I'm washing my clothes, I'm washing my car. It's just that embedded understood that you were talking, there's already that understood like concept of how you're doing that. If you're not careful in ASL, you can accidentally say you are washing your car. And I did that. And I got so much hate from my friends from that. And it was not, I totally admit, like she looked at me, she goes, your car is small enough to put in the washer machine? Wow, that's crazy. And I was like, I had this whole series, like, I'm not amused. And she looked at me and she's like, that's what you said. And I was like, I washed my car. She goes, like, so they will get you on that, but it's never bad. But I love the different like context of that. Anyways, I got very off. I love telling stories. I think they're just funny and they're fun and interesting seeing how those concepts can change the sentences. Okay, let's see. All right. So the next thing we're going to go ahead and do since we have about 10 minutes left is we're going to do some phrases just to kind of have a few sentences with our animals, okay? So the first one would be my favorite animal is. All right? So I think we talked about favorite food last week. It's the same sign for favorite. So my favorite, so that middle finger you tap on your chin. So my favorite animal. Okay? So my favorite animal, cat. Okay, my favorite animal, shark, blah, 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 that. Okay. I love it. Then, if you are allergic to cats, dogs, fish, any of those types, we're gonna go with cat for now, just since that's a simple one. There are two ways you can do this. One of them is more of that English, a stuffed animal. Okay, sorry, I totally dropped my sentence. I'll get back to that, but yes, that's a good question. Okay. There are two ways you can design it. One is more English, one is more ASL. The first one is saying me allergic to cats. So me, and if you remember allergic, cats. Okay. The more ASL way is you would do cats, me, allergic. Okay, allergic. So the reason for that, we haven't touched too much on this. And because this is ASL 1, I'm going to keep it very basic. It does get complicated the more, and so I'm not trying to overwhelm y'all with that. But the grammar of ASL starts with the subject, like the focus of the word. So not the me, but the what you're talking about. The not predicate, objective. I can't not
Direct
objective.
object.
That. Thank you. I was like, so like for example, the cats. We're talking about cats. Then you would come in with your verb, me allergic. Okay. So it does flip it a bit. Um, Same concept actually with, and I don't touch this as much because I'm trying to give you guys more exposure to sign. So you guys are actually getting a little bit more advanced information. Don't tell anyone I did it for y'all's class because they'll want it for me next. Um, because for example, if you were to say dog, like saying you have dogs, okay? You can do more that ASL, that more English where it's me have dogs, or you could do dogs me have. That's more ASL. Dogs have. Okay. So you kind of end with your verb basically. So you start with it's the direct object, and then you end with the verb. Especially for those basic simple sentences like what you have, you're allergic, you like, don't like, things like that. So just a little fun fact there. Um, this is more English and not ASL, does not mean if you were to sign it, they're not going to understand you. Um, I have noticed that there's a shift in English sentencing being a little bit more accepted. It's not as obvious. I think it's that bridge kind of coming between translating through ASL to English kind of build. I've seen it kind of happening more often. So it's not a bad thing to sign it in English. Like obviously the best way would be ASL full, but it's not the worst thing if you do English with that. Like I've noticed even deaf adults themselves signing it that way too. So it's kind of just, I've seen it more often for sure. Okay, let's see. All right, so for stuffed animal, so there are two ways you can kind of do it. One of them is I always like to add the sign for doll. Okay, and the reason for that is because it's that concept. If it's a plushie, it's not
Well,
real.
it's not taxidermied.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I was going to say that would be the other one is I would use the sign for fake. Fake cat, fake dog, but that could be confused with being an actual taxidermy. I could see that. Does that mean everyone would see it that way? No. I just think every option. So I love it. Oh, mine's on my bed. So I would say, like, let's say I have a stuffed animal. I have a stuffed animal that's a dog or whatnot, or stuffed cat. I would say like me have doll cat or doll, which I just love how I threw that in there. It's an X and you brush it on your nose. Doll. Doll. So it'll be doll shark, doll zebra. And that usually is what I typically do when I'm talking about a stuffed animal. Um, Other way is you could do fake, which fake. It's similar to rat, but again, fake animal, fake cat, that sort of thing. I have seen that talking about a stuffed animal bit because it's not a real actual cat. Okay. All right. I wanted to add these again. We did them last week, but I'm going to review with these again, especially because they're building sentences. Um, like and don't like. So if you remember, so like is going to be your middle finger and your thumb. You're going to touch your chest and pull it out. Like, like. If you were to say don't like, if you remember, there are two ways. First one is you continue with like and then throw it away. Don't like, don't like. Or not. That thumb, not like, not like. Okay, not like, not like. Then we had our want and don't want. So our want was two fives that we bring towards us. Want, want, and then don't want. Want, throw away. Want, throw away. Want, throw away. Or you can do don't want. Don't want. Okay? Then we had need and don't need. Need is again that X. Need, you're going to tap it a few times. Need. Don't need would be not needed. Not need. You can one time, not need, just one tap, or not needed. There's two ways. You can tap it or not. Okay? That. I don't know if you saw Miss Katie, but she said, I don't need bugs. So, yes. And so let's see what I was gonna say. I think that's it. Okay. Last thing I'm gonna say, and then I'm gonna leave it open if you guys have any questions, okay? Because I know I've thrown a lot at you. If you were going to talk about how many pets you have, you would say, me have 3 pets or 2 pets, whichever. And then if you remember when we talked about listing your family, You do the exact same thing with your pets. So like for me, I would be like two pets, two. And then I would point to them and say what they are. Okay? For me, let's say I was talking about, I'm gonna say four. I'm gonna include my parents. Parents, five. I forget there's one more. Oops. Um, Pets. I'm gonna talk about these three. They're all the same animal. They are all dogs. I can bring them together like this, kind of like
Mm.
where they're lumped together and say dog. Then I could go these two together, cat. So these dog, these cat. Um,
So
that
you would sign me
mhm,
pets.
five.
Yeah, okay. And though, even if it was just one, even if you're just going to say I have two cats, then
Yeah.
you would me, are you doing,
So I'm not doing animals with this one because pets does already kind of take over that spot. So I would go,
okay,
me have two pets, two pets.
okay,
And then I would make that motion of the two, and then I put them together and be like dogs.
okay. So the dog or cat or horse is at the very end after
Yes.
yeah, yeah, okay.
Because you want to give them the number of how many pets you have first before you start listing all of them and saying what they are. So
Yeah,
they
I
know
got
where
you.
the number ends.
Okay.
So, but yeah. Any questions you guys have about pets? Um, Anything you thought about last week that you forgot or anything like that? Any questions?
Did we do goat?
We didn't do goat. Oh my
Oh,
gosh. Okay.
animal shelter's a good one, and I don't think we've ever had
Oh,
that before.
no,
That's
we
a good
haven't.
one.
Okay. So we're gonna do goat real quick because goat is a fun one.
This is so exciting to have new content. This is like the third new thing just in today's class. Y'all are
I've
like
learned
so
so
excited.
much. Oh yeah, I love to add just a few things here and there. So for goat, you're gonna be making that like that frog motion we did again. Okay, so think like that, just that flicking motion. You're gonna start with your thumb on your chin, and as you come up to your forehead, you're gonna flick it up. Goat, 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 goat. Mm-hmm.
I think that is the funniest sign.
I
And
do
it's
too.
so appropriate.
I love it. I do love it. That's why I was like, oh my gosh, no, we have to do goat. Goat. Okay. If you were talking about an animal shelter, the way you would do it is you would do animal and then the sign for place. Okay. So animal and then your sign for place. All right. This one's a bit hard conceptually to explain through Zoom because it is very in person. Okay. So basically, what I'm doing is I have two Ks, I have them sideways. They're going to be away and together. And I'm going to be making like I'll show you. It's like I'm making a square, okay? Square with the P's, K's. Place, place. So I start together, like I'm in the middle of a rectangle, basically. And I'm gonna come out, bring it towards me, and come back in the middle. Place. And if you stare at your hands while you do it, you can visually see the square or the rectangle. It does not have to be perfect. We're not trying to say this or this, either one. It's just a general shape. This is place. Okay. So talking about an animal shelter would be animal place. I've also seen people do adoption center, like adoption, like adding that sign. So animal adoption. An adoption is it's interesting because it's also the sign for take. Concepts. Conceptually, it fixes it, it works itself. But so adopt is adopt, adopt. So animal adopt place. You can also add that animal. Oh my goodness, animal adopt place. I flipped my letters on me. Billy goat is still goat. You can add Billy goat to it. That you can do. That I completely forgot. If you're talking about specific types of animals, when I mean like that, is like a billy goat, a German shepherd, a black lab, different types of animals. They all do not always have their own signs. Most of the time they do, you have to finger spell them. Okay.
But isn't a
Or,
billy goat usually referred to by his little beard that he's grown? He's an
well, that's
old
why it's
guy.
down here. It's like this is the beard, and then you come
Oh,
in for the horns. Yeah. So that's why it's like,
okay, okay.
yeah.
Beard, okay.
That's why I was like, Billy Goat. I think you can still just do this and it's understood it's a Billy Goat. But I also know that there's goats and there's Billy Goats. Like there are differences.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. For Billy Goat, I would just add that Billy Goat, that emphasis of the Billy, if you wanted to. But if you still did goat, they're gonna know you're talking about a goat. Um, but for different types of animals, more specific. The more specific you get, the more you'll have to fingerspell. That's what I always like to say. I was very fortunate that Henry, my lab, is a black lab, and all I gotta do is just do the sign for black and then go lab, L-A-B. That's enough. Cool. The other one, Meredith, not so lucky. She's a Jack Russell Terrier mix. To fingerspell that every time. Jack Russell Terrier mix.
So Vasant and I both can say we have orange cats.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you
And
can say
mine's a beast. Mine's a beast.
that. I love it.
But
So luckily,
I have
cat
a
people, you
question.
just have to color.
I have a question. Is
Yes,
black across the forehead or across the ear, eyebrow?
it is across your forehead. So it is above and it goes across. You want to make sure with black, oh, I do not. If I blow y'all's mind, I promise I'll go back on this next week. I promise. You want to make sure you go straight across for black.
Okay.
Because if you bend it like this, that's summer. And then also this is forget, like if you do all your fingers. They're all on the same forehead. So black is just straight across your forehead, right
Because
above
I
your eye.
did see something where somebody says black, like
Black.
across their eyebrow. Because
This is more, that's still, the reason they do it this way is that's
uh-huh.
just a faster way of it. So instead of going fully across,
Oh, okay, okay,
they
okay.
just go
Get it.
black.
All right.
Yes. No, that's a good catch. There are those slight variations that sometimes it's
Yes,
just
because
shorter.
and I was telling my was like black
Yes.
instead of saying okay.
Yes. Think of this being again that formal black versus black, black, black. It's like kind of you start at half of the forehead and go ahead, black.
Okay. Thank you.
All righty. Okay. So I'm gonna stop now because it's 6:34. I don't want to go over y'all's time. Next week, we're gonna get one with our feelings, so be ready. I think we'll also do feelings and a bit of descriptions. I keep doing three descriptions on how you would describe characteristics of people. And then our last class, which is in 2 weeks, will be our fun Halloween special signs, holidays. What else? And
We
then
do weather too
we
because
do
of
weather.
like we'll do tornado and shelter, and then we also do like police, fire,
Yeah, like our emergency
schools.
signs.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like those kind of like community phrases, I guess.
Yes. So those will be our last two classes. It's crazy to think that this was our sixth class and we're almost at the end of it. But
Yeah, it's flown by.
yeah, it really does. So I recommend if you have any questions, final questions that you really want to ask, keep in mind that we'll have those two classes left. So you can ask them during those. Also, if you do end up ever thinking about something after our class does finish, you can always email Katie and she'll get in contact with me and I will try to be speedy about responding. Sometimes I can admit I'll see it and I'll respond in my head and then I look away and I come back and go, I never answered that email. My bad. If not, Miss Katie knows how to contact me and she can chase me down. So we definitely have ways of getting through. Um, anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of y'all's week, and I will see you guys all next Tuesday. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.